because I had my hand out in front of me. So I had one hand that touched his bum, was gooey, it was delicious, it was gorgeous. Hello everybody and welcome back to my podcast, Esme's Country Life. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about jumping my horse Joey again, screaming influencers, and also how it's now bull season. But before we begin, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of the podcast, Red Post. Red Post is an equestrian and country store based in the UK, but they also ship all over the world. And now is your warning, now is your time to go and check your horse's rugs, because you always think, oh, going into the winter, that kind of thing, I need a new coat for myself to stay nice and warm. But you need to think about your horse as well. So if you want to look at horse rugs, that kind of thing, be sure to go to redpostequestrian.co.uk. Anyway, let's get into today's episode. So in my last one, I was telling you how I had my first jumping lesson in over a month on Joey on that day. So I was like, wish me luck. Anyway, I've actually had 2 jumping lessons since then. And I can't lie, beforehand, I was a little bit nervous. So there's been many reasons why I haven't jumped Joey for a little while. Number one is I've just been focusing on our flat work. We've kind of taken everything back to basics, and that's been really, really beneficial for him. His flat work and everything is looking so good, because when it comes to jumping, a lot of it is just, you know, the horse does the jump, you need to do all the stuff in between. So a lot of that is working on your canter, and canter used to be Joey's kind of probably weakest pace, I'd say, but now he's feeling so good, he's feeling so strong. We've also been doing a lot of hacking as well with him. Also part of that is because in the summer I do like to give my horses like a little, that I do show jumping with, a little break from jumping, because of many different reasons. Also, number one, I've just been quite busy at lots of different horse shows and that kind of thing. Also, my instructor Felicity, who's an eventer, she's been really busy going out to events all the time and with her own horses. And also our arena at home, like I can do the odd jump, that kind of thing, but you can't really do like a full show jumping course with Joey. I could probably just about squeeze it in with Casper, because Casper is a lot smaller. Joey is a big old 16-1. There are going to be some people there and they're going to be like, 16-1 isn't actually that big as me, but Joey has quite big strides. And when you're going quite fast in a smallish arena, the jumps come up quick. So I thought, you know what, we'll have a little break. We'll come back and we'll come back stronger than ever, which is actually true. I was a little bit nervous bringing back to it, because I thought, oh my gosh, we've had a month off jumping. I really hope he hasn't just gone and decided, like, just completely forgotten what jumping is and that kind of thing. Also, part of me was like, oh my gosh, when we get back jumping again, is he going to be absolutely excited, zooming around, going all wild? But actually, he was so well behaved. And I don't know if that's because we did it at my instructor's yard, where he's often really chilled because he knows that he has to well, I mean, he always has to work hard. Like, don't worry, I'm not that soft with my horses. I sometimes get told off that I'm too soft with my horses, but anyway, he knows that, you know, when we go to my instructor's yard, like, he is having a workout. So at the beginning of the session, it's not like, oh, I'm gonna get all excited. He's like, no, I need to conserve my energy because I'm gonna be pooped by the end of this. Because sometimes I take him for a hack, especially if it's somewhere new, he gets quite excited and he's like, okay, let's go for a canter. But if it's when I take him on the hills, it's different, because he's like, okay, I know where we are, we're gonna be going out for a few hours, like, I'm gonna conserve my energy a little bit more. So Joey has got more wise with his years. But anyway, yes, back to jumping. So yeah, went back out there, started off nice little cross pole, all was good. The thing that I think I was worried most about, that he was just gonna like zoom off after a jump, and don't get me wrong, this boy had energy. He was keen, but it was a nice, I'm listening to you keen, which is always good, because yeah, there have been a few times where I've taken Joey jumping and I'm just like, oh my goodness, this boy has speed and I'm holding on for dear life. Anyway, it was not like that. It was all good. It was controlled. We did some grid work as well, and he was just so good, and it just made me so happy, because I could tell that he was just really, really enjoying it, and we were both just really enjoying it and having so much fun. So that was lovely to see, and it goes to show that if you do have a little break from something, you can come back to it and you're not going to be loads of steps behind. Like, we were pretty much by the end of the session back to jumping almost the height that we were doing before we had our little jumping break. But also I think it's nice for horses to have a little break from jumping, because obviously if you're not really supposed to jump like loads of times a week, and I wasn't doing that anyway. I'm like a once a week kind of girl, although I would quite like to maybe do twice a week jumping with him. But it was nice for him to have a little rest, and we've come back both enjoying it a lot. So that was lovely to hear. So I thought, so this is my little message. If you do have a little break from whatever you're doing in life, you can get back to it. So there we go. Anyway, very good with that. Also, one of the other reasons why I thought I'd give Joey a little break from going out and about is because I've kind of talked about this a little bit in the podcast, but he went through a phase where he just wasn't the biggest fan of getting into the horse box, and I think that's because he had he tripped once, and I don't know if that like just freaked him out a little bit or that kind of thing when like going in, because as you guys know, Joey is a little bit accident prone. He was fine, he just like had a little trip, and I think that did shake his confidence a little bit. So at the moment he takes 10 minutes to load, and that's fine with me. Every time he has loaded, it has been all good. It just has taken 10 minutes. So what I do is I just stand there with my little, I've said this before, but I just stand there with my little food bucket, and he takes 10 minutes of like, oh, will I go on? Will I go off? And then he's like, okay, food. And I'm like, that's fine. It's like pretty much 10 minutes each time. So the first time we took him out, I was like, okay, I'm going to give us an hour just in case. Take everything nice and slow, everything nice and steady. Don't want to rush. Want it to be a nice positive experience for getting him back in the horse box and that kind of thing. And I feel like having a little break has done him good, because like even to travel, like he was been so good, not a squeak from in the back. He's just been there chilling on his little journey. He is a nosy horse. He loves to look out the window, and he always knows where he's going as well. I've said this before, but he will neigh when we're coming back home on this one corner. Every single time he knows. He calls out to Mickey, Casper and Duke, being like, hey, I'm coming home. But anyway, so that is my little horsey Joey update on you all. We're back out, we're doing well. So lots of jumping videos, hopefully coming soon. Anyway, also I thought I would talk to you about. I hate saying this kind of stuff, but I went to a little influencer kind of thing the other day. So I thought I would talk about that, because I know that before I was doing all this kind of stuff, I would always love to hear like the behind the scenes of this kind of stuff. Like, I'm a nosy person. If you're listening to the podcast, you're probably a nosy person too, because you want to find out what I'm chatting about. Anyway, so I thought I would talk to you about what it's like going to an influencer event. I hate saying that kind of stuff. Like, this is actually so funny. So I had my friend Lydia as my plus one. It was at Tully's Farm. They do like the scare mazes and the scare fest there. So it was like a Halloween festival, and I have pretty much been every single year since I was about 16 or something. So I've been quite a few years. Obviously there was a few years that I missed because of COVID, because they did not open. But yeah, I've probably been like 4 or 5 times. Anyway, it's also quite funny because but yes, so anyway, so this was my first time ever going to the kind of press evening or press event, and I wasn't really know what to expect, because I was like, is it going to be just kind of like content creators, influencers, press people going around the mazes, or is there going to be, I was going to say normal people. I've literally been a normal person every single year. Like, I don't know how to say it. The general public. I don't want to sound like, oh yes, I am the VIP, I am better than everyone else, because that is not like that at all. So anyway, there's like the car park went on in, that kind of thing. And before me and my friend went, we were so excited, because we were like, oh my gosh, how funny will it be if we see like X, Y, or Z content creator going around the scare mazes like screaming, or like trying to think of all the people that would be there. We went on the Tully's Instagram looking at all the people that were there on the press event last year, seeing like what they were wearing, like how we should dress, like that kind of thing. Like, I'm that person that if somebody's like, oh, well, let's go to this restaurant, I will go onto that restaurant's Instagram page, I will look at the location, or I'll look at the tagged photos, and I'll see what everybody else is wearing, and that will help me decide my outfit. I don't know if that's something everybody else does, or if that's like a little life hack I've shared, or if you're like, Esme, why do you get so worried about that kind of stuff? Like, I just rock up and whatever. But, you know, if you're going on like a little date or something, or you're getting dressed up with the girls, also, I feel like me and my friends, we are those people where when we're going to an event or something, we all message like, okay, are we going dresses? Are we going cute top with cute trousers? Like, what's the vibe? Because you all want to kind of make sure that you're wearing kind of like similar things. You don't want to look like one person's going to the gym, one person's going to like the club, one person's going to see their grandma. Do you know what I mean? Like, you kind of, all of my friends, I'd say we probably do have quite similar fashion sense, but then also you don't want to look too similar. Like, if you're all wearing like a red dress, that's not going to work either, because you're all going to look like triplets. So anyway, there's a lot of organisation when it comes to, you know, going out with your friends, which I'll talk about later when we talk about going to balls, because ball season has arrived. But anyway, I've been jumping around with this episode, back to Tully's and that kind of thing. So yeah, we'll look at all the celebrities that were there last year. We're like, oh, there were some people from Love Island. Not that I am a Love Island person. I think I've watched like clips of it, but I've never actually watched a full season, because my goodness, you guys that do that, that's like a full-on like hobby. You are investing a lot of time. Like, it is a commitment. You have to like like sound like it's hard work. You have to sit down every evening and watch the telly. But like, I'm just too busy. Like, by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, or whatever time it normally starts, I don't know. Like, I want to be in my bed. I can't stay up that late. I'm ready to sleep. But anyway, my friend watches Love Island, so when we were there, we actually spotted some people that were on Love Island, and I was like, oh my god, like she was like Esme, at 3 o'clock there's somebody from Love Island, and I was like, I don't know who this fella is, but thanks for telling me. But it was quite cool, because I was kind of walking around and I was like, I recognise you. I would not be able to say who your name is, but I recognise your face. And there are some people, like, I was like, do I just recognise your face because I feel like a lot of content creators will have like a similar style and a similar look? But there were a few people where, like, afterwards I was like, oh, that's the girl who dresses up on TikTok and does videos pretending to be a primary school teacher. Like, there is like some just very niche and very random things. I mean, I talk about horses, so I'd say that's pretty niche. Like, whenever I meet other content creators, they're like, oh, what do you do stuff about? And I'm like, horses, and they're like, wow, that is a very niche topic. But often when I talk to somebody, there's at least one person that's like, oh, I've got a friend that rides horses, or they're like, oh, I rode a horse once on the beach when I was 5. And I'm like, okay, thank you. I feel like every equestrian has had that story where they're like, oh, I rode a horse once and I fell off. And it's like, okay, thank you. I don't know what to say to that. Anyway, but no, do you know what? When it comes to influencer events, one thing I have noticed, I feel like there are 2 different types of influencers, okay? There's the kind of influencers that everybody kind of knows and thinks of when they think of influencers or content creators. They are the super gorgeous, pretty, hot, definitely was popular in like high school or secondary school, big personalities, great style, like the cool people. Do you know what I mean? Or there's another type of content creator that you see at these things, and they are what I like to call the nerds. I would also classify myself in the nerds category, where there's somebody who's maybe like a little bit of an introvert, maybe a little bit more shy, but is probably chronically online, like online all the time, and probably has a topic or passion that they're really, you know, passionate about, love talking about, and have kind of risen in their niche because they're really interested in this one thing. And that's the category that I would put myself in. However, I do feel like when I do go to these influencer events, I like to get dressed up, you know, I like to do my makeup nice, I like to put a bit of effort in. So I'm kind of that like weird in between where somebody's probably like, well, which one is she? Is she like the super, I'm definitely not in the super cool style category, but I feel like I can disguise myself well. I feel like I put on my little camouflage and I can fit in quite well with the crowd. But I would say I'm more in the nerdy category. And you could tell because there were a few people at this event that were obviously like either theme park or scare maze, proper, you know, die-hard fans. They were there with their, what's that guy called? Francis Bourgeois. What's his name? The train guy that wears, you know, like the little action cams like in front of his face. There were people walking around like that, obviously going around and filming all of the scare mazes and things. But anyway, oh my gosh, I haven't even told you the funniest, so the like beginning of the story. So anyway, me and my friend Lydia, we arrived at Tully's. And because we'd been so many years before, we thought, oh, we'll just line up in the normal queue. And as we were lining up, we were like, oh, like we didn't really recognise any other content creators. And I was like, well, to be fair, everyone there is not going to know who I am. Like, unless you're a horse person, like, I'm irrelevant. So anyway, we were queuing all up in this long queue. And then we got to the front and I was like, oh, like, hi, my name's Esme, that kind of thing. And they were like, oh, are you here for the press evening? And I was like, yes. And they were like, oh, there's a secret back entrance. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that. Like, because when we were in the queue, we were like, I didn't want to be that person that pushes to the front of the queue and is like, I am so important, I'm here for the press evening, like pushing in front of all these people. Like, so we just, we're in the queue chatting away, having a lovely time, talking about all what mazes we wanted to go in, and then we got to the front and they were like, oh no, you are in the wrong place. And I was like, oh, sorry. Anyway, went around the secret back entrance, and then I felt very special, gave us these like VIP like lanyard kind of things, and it meant that we could go fast track on all of the mazes, and we could also go on as many mazes as we wanted, so that was incredible. And then we had like a little VIP wristband as well, and then we went into they had like a little room, or like a little barn that we were all in. So it was like a proper party. They had a DJ, they had a bus just giving out Greg's sausage rolls, because I think Greg's was one of the sponsors, so that was a little bit random, a little bit different, so that was cool. They also, one of the biggest sponsors I think of the event was NYX, or NYX, the makeup company, so they had all these makeup artists there doing everyone's makeup, so that was very cool. They also had like instead of a red carpet, because it's like Halloween, they call it a black carpet, so had like my photo taken on that, got interviewed, so that was pretty cool. I probably seemed like such a nerd because I was like, they were like asking me like questions, that kind of thing, like, oh, have you been here before? And I was like, I've been every year since I was 16, like, and I like knew all the haunts names and that kind of thing. If you couldn't tell, I love autumn and I love Halloween, so there we go. But anyway, but because we had these kind of like lanyard kind of things, it was like VIP, that kind of, it was very, well, not awkward, but every time you walked into the VIP fast track lane, I felt so bad because I was walking past all these people and I got kind of like pushed in the queue, which, I always think, I'm no different to anyone else. I don't know, sometimes I feel a bit uncomfortable with special treatment. But anyway, so we were in this like VIP fast track queue, and we kind of realised that when you would walk along there, because it was the press night, everyone was celeb spotting, everyone was looking out to see if they recognised somebody. So we were walking through the fast track, and basically everyone in the queue next to you would stare at you, being like, do I know you? Do I recognise you? How come you're in the VIP? That kind of thing. So it was very much imposter syndrome. But to be fair, they had some famous people there. They had people from Love Island. They had I was so sad I didn't see them, but they had Jedwood there. Now, I don't know, this is probably such a random thing, but I remember, I think it was like 10 years ago, I was a CBBC kid, which is like children's BBC for people who aren't British or don't know what CBBC is. So it was like a kids it was basically the free version of Disney Channel in the UK, but at a much lower budget. And anyway, because we didn't have Disney or anything like that as a kid, but Jedwood had a TV show, and I'm pretty sure it was something like, it was like Jedwood's Big Adventure. So I grew up watching Jedwood, and I was like, this is mental. Little old Esme would have been like, this is Jepic. Anyway, sorry, that was so bad. Anyway, but they've like properly popped off on TikTok at the moment. It's so random. Like, I completely forgot about them. How did they even get famous? Were they on like the X Factor or something random like that? I'm pretty sure they still had the quiffs. I'm pretty sure they went through a phase. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they shaved off their quiffs in like lockdown or something like that for charity. Anyway, I've just done a whole Jedwood tangent for you all. If you don't know who Jedwood are, you're going to be like, what on earth? But anyway, I just remember watching them as a kid, and I thought, so yeah, the next morning I was going on my phone, I was looking through all the Instagram, seeing what celebrities were there, and I feel like I didn't really see, there were like a few like really famous TikTokers that I saw, but apart from that, there wasn't anyone where I would have been like, to be fair, I don't think there would be many people that would fangirl over. Maybe some F1 drivers, but anyway, moving on. So yeah, they also had a new haunt or maze. I think I when I was younger, I used to always call them rides, but they're not technically a ride because it's not like a roller coaster, but pretty sure you call them haunts or you call them mazes. But we always do the haunted hayride first, which is the actual one that's kind of a ride where you sit in the back of a tractor and you go round and that kind of thing. That's probably my go-to for number one, because I feel like it's the best one to slowly dip your toe into it. Especially like there's one called Chop Shop, which is the most scary because they have like chainsaws and that kind of thing. Obviously they take the chain off the chainsaws, health and safety and all that, but that one we always do last because that one we always think is the scariest. Like if you do that one first, the rest are not going to be as bad. But anyway, so yeah, haunted hayride is normally our go-to for number one. that was very good. But they had a new one and we weren't allowed to film that. I'm pretty sure, I think it was called like Purgatory or something like that. That one was freaky if you were scared of the dark. I don't know how much I'm allowed to talk about it because, to be fair, they have like some behind the scenes clips on Instagram. But you have like a little lantern and you go around and sometimes the lantern will like just turn off and you'll just be in pitch black, or it'll like flash, and it just makes it even creepier. So that was really good. That was one of their new ones. They also had a new one that was like very like American themed, which was quite cool, a little bit different. But no, I'm trying to think of if there's any other kind of like interesting things that happened apart from me just screaming, because I am such a jumpy person. I am the worst person to go around scare mazes with because I just set everyone off. Because if somebody jumps out at me, I will scream. I am just very jumpy. And then everyone else will scream because I'm screaming. So I'm either the worst person to go around with or the best person to go around with, because then you're like, oh, she's making me scared because she's screaming. Or you're like, oh no, I don't want to be with her because she's screaming in my ear. But one thing that I did actually get recognised a few times at Tully's, and on one of the groups that I was with, we were going around, and obviously we got to a bit where it was a bit lighter because sometimes, it is in the dark, you can't really see who's there or what's going on. But there was this one girl that shouted Esme, and I thought it was one of the actors at first, and I was like, what is going on? How do they know my name? This is really scary. But no, it was one of you guys. So that was really lovely because like they went Esme, and I was like, what? Somebody is calling me. And then they went, oh my gosh, I love your video. So I was like, okay, it's not one of the actors, it's fine. They're not like here like trying to stalk me or get me or that kind of thing. But the actors I was talking about, I'm not talking about you guys being stalkers. I was meaning one of the actors like honing in on me. But that was one thing that I found, because if you were in the VIP fast track queue, they would always put you at the front. So oh my god, I always find the front is the worst, because you have to walk on in past all of the actors and they all get you first because you're the first one there, and oh no. So my friend Lydia was like, Esme, you've taken me here, you're gonna have to go in the front. So I had to go in the front and all of them, and every time I was like, I was like, because they have like a little safety briefing before you go in to obviously make sure that you don't have like a heart condition or a pregnant or asthmatic or epileptic, or all the T's and C's, safety, please do not sue me kind of things at the beginning. And before we go in, they're like, okay, you can go in now. I always go, does anybody want to go at the front, just better experience? And everyone's like, no. I'm like, okay, I will be the brave one, you guys can go behind me and hide behind me, I'm a big brave girl. Anyway, one thing that I did find, there's one, and it's called, I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, there are going to be people listening to this and they're like, Esme, why have you done this to yourself? This sounds absolutely horrible. Like, I've got some friends and anything like horror movies, scary, creepy, they absolutely hate, and they're like, I don't know how you do this to yourself. But I find it good fun. It's all like, I maybe it's just me like doing like actory things, but like they're all just actors, they're all just people. I think it's because when I used to go there, I had a lot of friends from school that were the actors, so I'm like, oh, that's what, like, my mate was that character a few years ago, that person a few years ago. But anyway, so this one, you basically have a bag over your head and you hold on to like a little rope and go through in the dark. But I found out, because when you're in the front for that one, maybe the first, corner that you go around, the actors go for you. But then after that, they're like, oh, that person's in the front, they're probably hard as nails. They're not going to care about me scaring them. I'm going to get the people around the back or the people in the middle that are hiding. So there we go. That one, actually, life hack. If you go on that one, go at the front because it's not as scary. The only thing that is scary, though, is if you accidentally lose the rope, which I might have done at one stage. And I was like, we were going along and I was like, you do know that it probably wasn't the best to have a dyspraxic girl right at the front, trying to, like, on this uneven ground, walk along, trying not to, like, lose this rope. But the worst part was, like, at the end where the rope ends. And then there's normally a person at the end that's like, okay, you can take your like, pillow sack or whatever it's called, like your mask. Probably is just like a black pillowcase or something that we had over our heads, but you can like take it off now. But he just didn't say it. He was just there, obviously watching us, being like, oh, this girl is like, I was like, oh no, I've lost the rope, what do I do? And they were definitely there wetting themselves, laughing at us, being like, these stupid people, they've lost the rope, they don't know where they're going. But what was even worse than that one, because I'm quite a fast walker, I was speeding along, and then I absolutely almost pooed myself because I walked into the group. I caught up with them. So there was this big guy, and it was the most awkward thing because I had my hand out in front of me. So I had one hand that touched his bum, and then I had the other hand where I put my hand like on top of his hand on the rope. And I was like, oh my gosh, this poor guy. I've just like gone in. I was like, at least he knew that I was in the dark and it was not intentional. But I just felt so bad because I kept like walking along and then walking into the back of him. Because normally when you're in a big group, you have one hand on the rope, one hand on somebody's shoulder. So anyway, we would walk along. And I'd like, oh, I'll let them go off a little bit so we don't catch up. And then I just catch up with him. And then I just walk into him again. This poor guy, I had to apologise to him so many times. It was probably like, this girl does not know what she's doing. She keeps bumping into me. So anyway, that was my time at Tully's. There we go. So yeah, that was my scare maze experience. So next I thought I'd talk about ball season because I went to a ball the other evening and I was actually thinking about this because I was like, it's so weird how we have ball season kind of like in the autumn winter. And I was thinking about it. It does make sense because I don't know, maybe I'm just cynical about this because I obviously run a business and that kind of thing and I can see how seasonal things are. But I was thinking to myself, it's probably because in the summer, everybody's having a wedding, everyone's having like prom, that kind of thing, like schools have their end of year or end of term kind of like parties, that kind of thing. And then going into the autumn or winter, they're kind of like dead months, like not really much happens. Like in the summer, everyone wants to go out in the sunshine, that kind of thing. And obviously a lot of catering companies do weddings. So that's probably why we have ball season in the winter, because the catering companies can then carry on, being successful. So I was like, that's actually quite cool when you think about it. So anyway, if you have never been to a ball, I thought I would tell you this is my Esme ball routine. Anyway, normally we all get ready at my friend's house, and the friendship group has grown a lot over the years. And this year I was like, you know what? I'm going to get ready at my own house with my best friend, just the two of us. Nice, we'll have like a cute little girly chat, just the two of us while we get ready, because I was like, I'm going to air wrap my hair with my Dyson air wrap kind of thing, and I was like, I'm going to annoy so many of my friends. Everyone's trying to chat and get ready. Like, if you're using hair straighteners, that's fine, or hair curlers, because it doesn't make a noise. But with the air wrap, it is quite noisy, and I'm like, nobody's going to be able to hear what I'm going to say, so I'm just going to get ready at my own house. I can have all my makeup there. I don't have to bring like a full-on like bag full of all my stuff. But it sounded like the girl group had a very lovely time, but I was like, it's going to be too much. I'm going to get too overwhelmed. It's going to be too busy. But normally we all get ready at somebody's house, and we all get ready together. But anyway, me and my best friend, we got ready at my house, and that was really lovely. I don't know what it is, but getting ready as girls together, it's just girlhood. It's good fun. Gotta love it. Boys won't understand. Anyway, so me and my friend got ready. Also, my dress, I was so happy with my dress because it was such a steal. So anyway, because normally ball dresses can be pretty expensive, so I'm not going to gatekeep. I'm going to tell you where I got my dress from. I actually got it from Pull & Bear, out of all places, which you wouldn't really think of like a ball dress kind of place. Like normally they're kind of like jeans, t-shirts, jumpers, that kind of thing. But they had some really nice long bodycon dresses, and I saw it when I was with my friend when we went to go and see Noah Khan in at the O2. So we were shopping in the middle of London and we're going straight to the O2 afterwards, and I was like, I'm not going to be able to buy anything because the O2 are quite strict about bringing bags in, that kind of thing. So I thought, you know what, I'll order it online. Anyway, when I was in Portugal, we did a little bit of shopping, saw it was there, €5 cheaper in Portugal, and I was like, brilliant, I'll buy this dress now. So anyway, my dress was, a tight bodycon long dress in like a tealy peacock, like a dark teal or a peacock green, which I feel like was a very different colour, because I think that ball dresses, the go-to that most people have, I would say, is a red, maybe like a royal blue, navy, black, or like a dark green. I'd say they're the go-to that most people have. To be fair, they are very nice colours, and I feel like those colours suit most people, and they're very like autumny, wintry colours as well. But I was like, I don't want to be like other girls, I want to go for something different. But anyway, I saw this colour and I was like, that is gorgeous. It also matches my ocean Fairfax and Favour heels, so I was like, oh my gosh, this was meant to be perfect. And one big sister piece of advice that I would give, if you're going to a ball or a wedding or an event, when you're like dress shopping or that kind of thing, get a dress that is number one, comfortable, and number two, that you feel confident in. And this is something that I've definitely learned over the last few years, because there have been balls that I've been to and I've been like dancing and I'm like, oh no, I feel uncomfortable, or like I can't move in my dress, or I feel insecure about a certain part of me. So I have learned that for me, I feel most confident in tight dresses that have like a high neckline, like that, just what I think suits me and my body type and that kind of thing. And feeling comfortable and that kind of thing is the most important part, because when you're dancing and when you're having good fun with your friends, the last thing that you need to worry about or think about is how you look or how you feel or if you're comfortable, that kind of thing. So that is my big sister piece of advice. If you don't feel 100% confident and comfortable in what you're wearing, it is not the dress, or it is not the thing. So there we go. There we go. That is what I have learned. So yeah, that dress was, I was like, what a bargain, brilliant. But also it's a sort of dress where I can definitely rewear it for some events. It probably wasn't as smart as some of my friends who had like very cute glittery kind of ones that are a little bit more like prom dresses. But I was like, you know what? When I've done my makeup nice, when I've got some cute jewellery on and that kind of thing, it's slayed. So there we go. But yeah, what other ball things? Oh yeah, so normally with a ball, you arrive, or this is the balls that I've been to. You arrive, everybody goes and gets their drinks and gets cute photos with like, there's normally like a background or something, if that's like a little backdrop. This one had like cute little balloons and that kind of thing. And then there's like a big chart where it has all the tables. I guess it's a little bit like a wedding, and it has all the tables, and you find your table number, and then you go and sit down, and you have like a meal. Sometimes you get to decide what you're gonna have. Like you have like three options, like vegetarian, chicken, beef, that kind of thing, or you get to sometimes it's like, this is what you're gonna get, meat or vegetarian. And then puddings, oh my gosh, so this ball, the food was actually so good. I feel like sometimes balls can be like a bit hit or miss. Like sometimes I've never been to a ball and been like, this has been the best food I've ever had in my life. But I tell you what, this last one, food was up there. I'd say it was like an 8 out of 10, which is pretty good when I'd say ball food is normally average. The brownie, I think that might have actually been one of the best brownies I've ever had. Like it was, when sometimes you go to places and like I feel like the most disappointing thing is when you order a brownie and it's dry and you can just tell someone's got it out of a packet and put it on a plate and put a bit of ice cream next to it. This was gooey. It was delicious. It was gorgeous. It was a good brownie. And then normally also I'm that person. I go around. I do like a little tour of all the tables. So I'll like eat my dinner, and then as soon as I finish my dinner, I'm like, see you later, guys. I'm gonna go and find that probably sounds so rude, but I feel like it is kind of like a thing at balls. Well, maybe the ones that I've been to, probably because I have such like my sort of friendship group that's there is so big that I'll be like chatting with these people, and then I'll go around and chat with some other people, and then catch up with some other people. So I always think it's like a good way like of everybody to all meet all in one place, because I tell you what, being an adult and trying to figure out a time to meet up with your friends that are all working, have different work-life schedules, it is hard. It's like, okay, see you in 2 months when we can all finally have a date where we're all free at the same time. To be fair, part of that is me either being away with work or at horse shows or being busy. So I apologise to my friends, I am that person. But to be fair, normally evenings or weekends, if I'm not working or at a horse show, I'm free, I'm down, I'm ready to go. Anyway, so yeah, you go for a little wander, and then when you see the dessert come out, you're like, okay, I need to go back to my seat. And then there's often a raffle as well, which is quite good fun, where it's often for charity as well, the raffle, so that's always good stuff. I don't think I've ever won anything in a raffle at a single ball that I've been to. I don't know what it is, I'm so unlucky. One of my friends, it is painfully annoying, her and her brother, every time there is a raffle, they always win. Like, there are some people, and with those sort of things, they are just so lucky, and it's like, how? Anyway, and then afterwards, there's often a DJ, and then you have a little boogie on the dance floor. So there we go. That is a ball. That is what I've been up to lately. So I think I have it depends how many I want to go to. I think there are more that I could go to, but the ones that I know that all of my friends are going to, there are 2 more this kind of autumn winter. So there we go. I guess it's like a nice kind of thing. I definitely am more of a ball person than a going out clubbing person, because with balls, everybody kind of like knows each other, or at least if you don't know somebody, like you probably have a friend that knows them or that kind of thing. I just feel like it's a lot more of like a safer environment for like dancing on the dance floor compared to going to a club or that kind of thing. But still, keep your eye out, look after your friends, stay safe. And on that note, I'm going to finish off today's podcast episode there. I really hope you enjoyed listening to me and Joey, what we're getting up to, also what it's like at a kind of influencer, content creator kind of thing. Also, I have another thing. I'm going to the Instagram headquarters at some stage next week. I think I have 2 things with Instagram or Meta next week in London, so I'm gonna have to keep you updated on that in next week's podcast episodes. That'll be interesting. See if I can some more influencer gossip for you all, the behind the scenes. I hate myself. Anyway, on that note, I'm gonna finish it there. I hope you all have a lovely week, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.